watching 2005's The Big White, starring Robin Williams, Holly Hunter, Giovanni Ribisi and Woody Harrelson. This I've actually only seen once before. It's it's like a comedy kind of. I can't explain it. Basically, tells a story of Paul, played by Robin Williams, who is in desperate kind of financial trouble, and his wife is suffering from some mental illness, which he keeps sending her for medical tests for, and of course all the medical bills are piling up and stuff like that. So he decides to try and claim his brother's life insurance, because he hasn't seen his brother for several years. Except the insurance company are like, we need a body. And then a couple weeks later, he accidentally stumbles on one dumped by some hitmen. And basically the story is then Giovanni Ribisi's insurance man kind of chasing up the story, because he doesn't believe that all of a sudden this body's appeared and that it's Paul's brother kind of thing, because that's what Paul's doing. He's claiming that this is his brother. And it's kind of like all the hijinks after that, where Paul has to keep lying and coming up with new theories and stuff like that. And you know what? This film makes me think that some of the cinematography, and I know obviously there's only so many different ways you can film like the same things, but just a lot of the kind of cinematography and the general kind of story and characterizations reminded me a lot of the recent TV version of Fargo. There was a lot of stuff that just reminded me of that, which kind of then distracted me and made me want to go watch Fargo again. But this is classed as a comedy, and it is, but it's difficult because it's not laugh out loud funny. It's not that it's a bad movie, it's just not great, and it just kind of exists. And I know I've said that about a couple of movies already. I do not mean to kind of repeat myself on some assessments, but that is pretty much it. It just exists. I guess the big white, if you will, in the room right now, the big white elephant would be, of course, the recent passing of Robin Williams. I'm not obviously going to talk, especially not in this review, about the circumstances, but Robin Williams was an amazing actor. His work should be celebrated from here to eternity. He was a huge, a lot of my kind of comedic sensibility, my sense of humour, I put down to growing up watching him on Mork and Mindy, and obviously a lot of the early 90s comedy films. And, you know, I have a lot of his movies. The more recent stuff I haven't been tuning into, because a lot of it's been a bit, well, lame, and it's not him per se, it's just the films he picked. But I loved him in dramas and stuff. I mean, my God, 1 Hour Photo creeps the shit out of me. You know, stuff like Dead Poets Society, etc., etc. So my point is that was why I picked this up. I saw that he was in it, and I was just like, okay, I'll pick it up. Kind of like World's Greatest Dad or whatever it is. I haven't watched it yet. I just know I have it. And it's sad because I don't feel like he's properly used in this. Now that sounds really silly because he's the main character. But he just doesn't do much. sentimental element because you see him worrying about his wife and stuff. Obviously you see him dealing with the body and stuff like that. But a lot of it is just, he plays a very quiet character. And I just don't feel like he's been properly, it could have been I just feel like it could have been any other actor in this role. And that's sad because he was always somebody that if he was in something, he stood out like a beacon, be it drama or comedy. And I just feel like he's in this for the sake of it. And even Woody Harrelson is completely underused. I mean, he comes back, he plays the brother who kind of, after Paul has declared his brother dead and everything, his brother just suddenly appears because he's heard about about his death on the news. And he's barely in it for very long. And when he does have screen time, he's just like yelling and drunk and stuff. And I guess that's what kind of people see of Woody Harrelson. But I just think he's being underused. I think the worst crime about this movie is Holly Hunter, who is playing this, I don't know, it's not so much her, but they play this character with an unexplained mental illness that they're trying to, kind of find the symptoms, like the diagnosis for and stuff. She plays this kind of childlike character that's bouncing everywhere and just swearing here, there, everywhere. And they keep saying, oh, it's Tourette's, but no, it can't be Tourette's because of this, that and the other. And so by the end, you're expecting to see some kind of change in her, maybe that she's developed, or maybe she's snapped out of it or something. But no, there's like this very schmaltzy, rushed ending. Where you see Paul and his wife kind of going on a cruise. Now, it had been said earlier that when the last time they went on a cruise, she was very, very happy. That's nice. I still want to know what's wrong with her. And that was really, really frustrating. So, I think that's a lot of the problem with this movie, is it's not that it's bad. It plods along at a decent rate. It's not even that people are bad at acting in it. I just feel like they're underused. Completely not put to, good. The script is just lacking. And I do love the soundtrack. Some awesome songs on this soundtrack. But other than that, the movie just kind of exists. If you want a kind of Fargo rip-off, if you want. I mean, it's not it doesn't rip off Fargo. It's just, there's elements that make me think of that. It's a light comedy. It's funny because literally underneath the title on the box, it says, hilarious, 4 stars. And again, I know comedy is subjective and all that stuff. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood for it. But I know the first time I watched it, I didn't laugh my arse off. So there are a couple of little giggles in here, but otherwise it's just a bit average. And I guess that's all I can do is give it 5 out of 10 stars. Pushing 5.5 if it's on the better side of the scale. It's not bad. It's just, I can't explain it because I've already used a number of these, summations for other movies that I've done in this series. And considering this has been running for like over a month now, I know it can get a bit tired after a while. But yeah, it's just an okay movie. It's very average. If you want to add another Robin Williams movie to your list, do check it out because there are much worse ones. Just don't expect much from him. either on a dramatic or, like I say, you do feel for him. He does a lot of the kind of sympathetic crying look, the puppy dog look. But other than that, just, I don't know what to say. If, like I say, if you want to add it to your Robin Williams collection, do check it out, because there are much worse ones. If you are after a hilarious comedy, it's more like a lunchtime one, kind of like I've said with some of the other ones recently. It's a lunchtime movie, or even just a quiet night in with the other half or something. It's not offensive, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's 2005's The Big White. That was tonight's movie. We'll be back tomorrow. But for Sketch, I'm Sketch. Hello. If you want to give me something. For now, this is Sketch signing out. To God. For Sketch, seriously. I think this head bump was a bit worse than I thought.